Hello. In this lesson, we're going to be preparing a conversation that you will have with someone who speaks English fluently. Not with me this time, but with, it could be a student in your class, although probably you'll have trouble finding a student who speaks fluently, who's in your class. It could be your teacher. It could be a student in another school, or even better, a student in another country, another English-speaking country. Whichever the situation, we need to develop the ability to interview that person, to ask them questions about their life. And that's what you find happening in the second section of this unit. Here you see questions that you are to form. The first two questions are ones that you probably need to learn by heart, to memorize, because by logic and reasoning things out, you probably won't be able to create them. This is, of course, what's your name? What's your name? And number two is, how old are you? You've heard these expressions already as we've practiced polite conversational expressions. But those are two you have to memorize. After that, the others, you should be able to create using your knowledge of English structure. So let's look at number 3. And there are two different ways to form this question. What is the first way? Right. Do you live in the United States? Do you live in the United States? What's the other way to form this question? We start with a statement. Say it. And then we go to the question at the end of the statement. Okay, that's the question, you live in the United States? Excuse me, that was incorrect. We start with, you live in the United States, don't you? Right? Okay, you live in the United States, don't you? Let's try number 4 here. How would you form this question? This symbol represents the word or. Or, it means we have an option between two possibilities. How do you say this? Or, okay. Do you live in a house, a house, or an apartment? Now we say an apartment because you can't say apartment. We use the word an to replace a before a vowel sound. Apartment. An apartment. Okay. What's the second way to that same question? It's not quite the same question. It's almost the same question. How could this be said, this question here? Make the statement first and then the question. Okay. You live in a house, don't you? You live in a house, don't you? All right, number 5. This is a city or in the city or in the country. What's the question? Do you live in the city or in the country? Okay. Here's a similar question. How would you say this? Start with the statement and then the question. You live in the country, don't you? Okay, notice how we're saying don't you? We're not saying doesn't. Doesn't is for he or she. Doesn't he, doesn't she, but don't you, don't I. So don't you is what we're using in each of these questions. Number 6, we're talking about preparing meals. These are meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How would you say this question? Do you prepare meals? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Do you prepare meals? What's the other way to say this question? You prepare meals, don't you? Very good. Number 7, this is washing dishes, to wash dishes. Say the question. All right. Do you wash dishes? Do you wash dishes? Or do you wash the dishes? And what's the other way to say that question? You wash the dishes, don't you? Very good. This is becoming automatic, isn't it? You don't need much help. I may be using my hands, but I don't think you necessarily need my help at this point. This is laundry, or the laundry. The laundry. Do you wash the laundry? What's the second question? You wash the laundry, don't you? Very good. Number 8. This is listen to music. Good. Do you listen to music? What's the other way to ask that question? You listen to music, don't you? Very good. Okay, so these are all questions that you can ask because you know the vocabulary. You can ask the person that you will be interviewing, with whom you'll be talking. Let's look at number 10. This is rock music. Good. Do you like rock music? What's the second way to say that? Right. You like rock music, don't you? Number 11. Watch TV. Do you watch TV? The other question, the second question. You watch TV, don't you? Good. This is go to. To means in the direction of. I go to church. I go to school. I go to the house, etc. To. Okay, so say this. Right here comes this, the word right there. And this is there are different ways that this could be said. The movies or the movie theater. The movie theater, which we'll use the movie theater. Do you go to the movie theater? Do you go to the movie theater or to the movies as well? Right. You go to the movie theater, don't you? Or you go to the movies, don't you? Next, this is restaurants. Restaurants, more than one restaurant, a place where you eat. Okay, what's the question? Use this idea here. Right. Do you eat in restaurants? And this one? You eat in restaurants, don't you? Number 14. This is pizza. Good-looking pizza at that. Very simply, right. Do you like pizza? And the other way, the other question? You like pizza, don't you? Good. This is school. So again, we're going to use this idea of going in a certain direction. To. What's the question? Do you go to school? Do you go to school? That can mean do you go, like to walk or to take the bus or take a car, or it can mean do you study in a school? Are you a student? It has both meanings. How about the second one here? How would you form this question? Good. You go to school, don't you? Very good. Next one here. This is asking how you go to school. So walk, could be take the bus, take the train, whatever. What's the question? Do you walk to school? Do you walk to school? What's the other question? Number 2. You walk to school, don't you? Very good. Number 17. Here we have, this is a serious question. We have homework, and a lot of, or a little. Okay, in this case, the question is asking for a lot of. So what is this question? Okay, you know that this is make or do. I make the bed, I make dinner, or I prepare dinner, but I do homework. Okay, so this is do you do a lot of homework? Do you do a lot of homework? What's the other question? You do a lot of homework, don't you? All right. Number 18. This is church and go to church. Say it. Say the question. Do you go to church? What's the second question? You go to church, don't you? Number 19. This is about liking animals. Do you like animals? And the second question? Good. You like animals, don't you? The next question is the same. We just change animals with sports. Do you like sports? You like sports, don't you? Etc. Number 21. This is about speaking English. Okay, English. What's the question? That's an important question, isn't it? Do you speak English? Do you speak English? And question number 2? Right, you speak English, don't you? The last 2 questions are the same. We just change English with a different language. You put French in its place or Spanish. So we'll go on to the next section. In this section, you've done this kind of activity before. Here you're going to listen. You're going to form a question first. Then you're going to listen to the answer. And then you're going to answer the question you hear in my answer. For example, let's do number 4. Here this is, do you live in the city? And then you'll click and you'll listen. Do you live in the city? To know if you said it correctly or not. And then you'll hear an answer. No, I don't live in the city. I live in the country. Do you live in the city? And you'll answer. That's the last point. After you hear the answer, you answer the question, yes, I live in the city, or no, I don't live in the city. Okay? So this is simulating a conversation such as you will have with the person you're going to interview soon. In fact, at the end of this section, there is a video that I'd like you to watch right now in which you're practicing the art of conversation, of asking questions of and answering questions from another person. So let's watch that video right now. Hello. What's your name? My name is Steve. Nice to meet you. How are you? Oh, I'm fine, thanks. How old are you? Well, I'm 62 years old. I'm 62 years old. I'm an old man. Do you live in the city or in the country? Where do you live? Oh, I live in the country. I don't want to live in the city. I like the country. And now, I need the truth here. Do you make the bed? Tell me the truth. Well, of course I make the bed. Yes, I make the bed. I'm a good husband. And do you go to school? No, I don't go to school. I work at home. Do you like school? When you go to school, do you take the bus? Do you walk to school? And do you do a lot of homework? Do you do a lot of homework or a little homework? I was afraid of that. Sorry. Do you speak Spanish? I have to ask because your English is excellent. Do you speak Spanish? Do you speak French? I speak English primarily, but I also speak Spanish and French. Um, do you listen to classical music? Do you like music? Do you listen to classical music? Yes, I like music. I listen to classical music and I listen to classic rock. Um, do you watch TV? Do you watch a lot or a little? Yes, I watch a little TV. I watch baseball, I watch football, but I don't watch a lot of TV. Um, and do you go to the movies? No, I don't go to the movies. Not very much. It's too expensive. It costs too much money. Um, do you go to church? Uh, yes, I go to church. I like my church very much. Um, at home, do you help? Do you help at home? Do you wash the dishes? Yes, I wash the dishes sometimes. My wife washes the dishes. My mother washes the dishes. I wash the dishes. Um, do you prepare dinner? Well, no, I don't prepare dinner. I prepare breakfast and I prepare lunch for myself, but I don't prepare dinner. I don't know how to cook. My wife prepares dinner. Um, do you like hamburgers? Do you eat a lot of hamburgers? Yes, I like hamburgers, but I don't eat a lot of hamburgers. It's not very good for your health. Huh? Um, do you like vegetables? Yes, I love vegetables. I have a garden. I grow vegetables in my garden, and I eat a lot of vegetables. Do you like animals? Yes, I like animals very much. I have two dogs, a cat, and lots of chickens. Chickens. Do you like sports? Yes, I like sports a lot. I used to play. I can't now. I'm too old. But I used to play basketball, and I played baseball, and I like hockey and football. Now I watch sports. Um, do you know this family? Uh, yes, I know the family very well. This is the Richardson family. You'll know them better later on. Um, well, what time is it? Oh, it's getting late. I should be going. Uh, I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Well, in this this last section here, you see that it's time now to perform the actual interview or conversation with the person in your class, with your teacher, with an adult who comes to your classroom, with a student overseas who speaks English fluently. Whichever the situation, these are the questions that you can ask them. And these are questions whose vocabulary you know, and you're familiar with these questions. So very quickly, what are they? They would be, what's your name? How old are you? Do you live in the United States? You live in a house, don't you? Or do you live in an apartment? Do you live in the country or in the city? Do you wash the dishes? You make the bed, don't you? This is clean. You haven't heard this verb very often, clean. Do you clean the house or the apartment? Do you prepare meals? Do you prepare breakfast, lunch, dinner? Homework. Do you do a lot of homework? Do you eat in restaurants? Do you eat hamburgers? Do you listen to music? Do you like classical music or rock music? You watch TV, don't you? Do you watch a lot of TV or a little TV? Do you watch movies? Do you like animals? You like sports, don't you? Do you go to school? Do you go to an office? Do you go to church? Do you speak English? Do you speak French? Do you speak Spanish? And then that's basically it, okay? So it's your job now to do the exercises that follow this video to prepare yourself so that when the time comes to talk with your with your correspondent, that you can do so with confidence. And I'll see you in the course of next lesson 1.22. Goodbye.